So I kind of really just want to talk about the leader choices that I've made. So there are kind of three periods of one rule that we can go into. So there's the early prehistoric, kind of not really prehistoric, but kind of the early period of Mon rule under it's called the Tome period in in Burmese, I mean. But in Mon it's called Saduin. Um, this period was marked by a lot of innovation. They learned a lot of things. They were very Hindu. This is kind of where the civilization vector came to them, if that was a real thing. Of course, it's not. But let's see. Let me deal with this. Need to kill. I need to kill them as much as I can. Hopefully, Rankam pulls through. Anyway, so the tome was this early period with a bunch of prehistory, a long history. Mon people do identify with it, but it's kind of more vaguely in terms of, oh wow, we were the first civilization in Southeast Asia. Not any of these other great civilizations that exist now. They're newcomers. Nice. But there's not really a person that they identify with, so I didn't really focus too much on it. It is part of the UA, but because I was doing the whole civilization as a whole. But in either case, the second period is this period, the Hung Sawatoi Kingdom, or in Burmese, Hantawadi Kingdom. This period was after Bagan. So Bagan was a dynasty from Burma that came down and conquered them, and they took Buddhism away from them, and Theravada Buddhism specifically, apparently, and they got a lot of things going on with that whole mess, and a lot of the monastic stuff, a lot of the religious stuff in Burma, as a result, became very Mon things, and that is relevant in a bit. But after this period, the Bagan dynasty collapsed when the Mongols invaded, and when the Mongols invaded, this guy Rajajirat managed to get independence for the Mon people in terms of the Hong Sawatoi Kingdom. Of course, later this is conquered by the Taungnu Kingdom, who is the kingdom that kind of conquered everyone, Thailand, Laos, everybody. This is also my first mod, but you know. So after being conquered by Taungnu, they kind of got a short period of restoration. When Taungnu collapsed, they turned themselves into the restored Hantawadi Kingdom, or the restored Hong Sawatoi Kingdom. But this restored kingdom lasted like 10-20 years before the Gongbao decided to conquer them. So when the Gongbao conquered them, they were actually assimilated, and that is very important because in Southeast Asian history, it's not really common to forcefully assimilate people, just because the way that this works. Oh, hello, this is Gongbao, quite on time. So Gongbao is the dynasty that conquered the Mon people, and this guy Alampia, he decided that enough was enough. These guys were causing a lot of rabble-rousal, especially during the Taungnu period. So after the current kingdom, the one that is here, the Hantawadi Kingdom, got reconquered by the Burmese the second time. They didn't really go quietly like the first time, because they already had this period of independent prosperity, and their conditions of life really decreased. So they really wanted to restore kingdom, and when Gongbao decided to conquer them, they decided we need to forcefully assimilate them because they're gonna rebel no matter what, and they're a large contingent of the population, and we just can't have this. Fuck. Okay, so I kind of want to get Krakatoa. I don't know if the AI is gonna settle on the marble. I think the AI is gonna settle on the marble, but let's just see how far we can get. Okay, hopefully the AI decides. Let's move to the other tile. Oh, there's their capital. Yeah, Shribu. Well, this is historically accurate. So the Gongbao dynasty making us less well off. It's pretty historically accurate because the Gongbao dynasty kind of forcefully assimilated and got rid of a lot of Mon culture or co-opted them as Burmese things. Oh god. Okay, I guess I'll settle on the river. Okay. I should not have taken that risk. Oh well. Maybe I should conquer them. Yeah. Okay. In either case, what the Gongbao dynasty kind of suppressed Mon rule and got the Mon people out of a lot of areas, which is why they're no longer in all of Lower Burma, and which is why I'm Burmese and not Mon. I'm from the Mon lands, and I am not Mon, so that would make sense. There's a lot of people, so I'm not entirely unique in that. In either case, so I really wanted to look at. Yes, we're gonna attack the other guy. So, in either case, I really wanted to look at that middle period when they got their prosperous independent rule for a few centuries. This is also the one that most people are probably familiar with because of EU4. So, this is Pegu, or this is Pegu because this is the kingdom that the Europeans really found. Okay, where do I settle this third city? It should be. I don't really have a good spot. Damn it! God damn it! Okay, let's go this way. Okay, so I shouldn't go wide at this point, but I'm going to so that you can see more interesting city names and things like that. And also because I enjoy wide. So from that middle period, there are kind of three kings that people do look up to. The first is Regetirat, who's the founder of the dynasty, the guy who rebelled against the Burmese rule, and the one who kind of has a lot of military skill and was a great fighter. And that's something that a lot of people in Southeast Asia generally think makes for a good civilization leader, just someone who conquered everyone. And I also embody this because the first mod that I thought to make was the guy who conquered everyone, but from the Danglu dynasty for Burma. So I could have done that, and that if I asked like a Mon person who should represent Mon people, as if you have just one king to choose from, they would probably choose Regetirat. But I didn't really want to do that because the idea I had for the Mon people was not this warlike culture trying to conquer everyone, because that really wasn't their history. That's mostly just the Burmese people trying to conquer everyone. That's not their shtick. Okay, let's. Oh, wait, one more turn. But okay, I don't know if there's any good lands, but I'm gonna settle it anyways. Let's see. Let's get an archer. So Regetirat, I didn't really want to go for because he was a more militaristic leader, and I wanted someone to embody the more peaceful trade, faith kind of deal of the Mon people that I think makes them more unique. And so I was looking at some of the other ones, and there are two other ones that people also really identify with. So if you ask somebody else who else should, if not Regetirat, who should lead the Mon people, they might say that it should be Damasiri. So Damasiri is the Burmese name because I don't actually remember what the Mon name is. I'm sorry, and also I've been butchering all the pronunciation, so sorry about that too. Okay, this is a terrible city spot. Yeah, no, I'm not. Oh, there's copper. Okay, that's not the worst spot. Okay, but first I need to get silver. And another lux at least. Alright, awesome. Time to snipe. Alright, so. Oh no. Damazuki was Shinsabu's successor, actually. So let's just go through the history between these two and talk about Shinsabu in the middle. So she is a female leader. That is something that is important. Not just because, wow, diversity points or something, but also because female leaders just tend to be more interesting, just in that they're not typically who's gonna rule. So there's some reason why they got into power, and that usually makes them more interesting. In Shinsabu's case, it was that her father, Rijitirat, was the founder of a dynasty. He was kind of going around and establishing this whole thing, but he didn't really establish the rules for succession. And the way in Southeast Asia generally it works is that the king has to choose who succeeds him, not just because of not like whimsically, but usually they choose a chief queen, and that chief queen's eldest son becomes the heir. So they kind of choose the heir out of the many heirs that they have from having so many kids and wives and all of the stuff that comes with being a king. The interesting thing about Shinsabu was that although she's the daughter of Rijitirat, she was basically the sixth person to come onto the throne after Rijitirat. So first there was first it went to her eldest brother, because that was assumed where it would go if he had given no options, that the nobility decided, yeah, it should go to him. But his other brothers were not very satisfied. So Rijitirat had 3 sons, and the second and third sons were like, no, just because he's the eldest doesn't mean he was going to be the heir. So they decided to fight it out, and they managed to assassinate the guy. So they assassinated the king and then I think it was Banyawaru, but I don't remember. Okay, this is not going too well. Alright. But so after he was assassinated, his brother got the throne. It went to, and then after he died, the third brother had already died, so it went to his nephew, the first eldest brother's son, and that eldest brother's son was contested because it was like, yeah, your father wasn't even the legitimate king. He just took the throne for a while. So why should you become the head of house just because you're the eldest male? And there was even more conflict. And basically what happened was everyone started killing everyone. And after trying to kill everyone, there was only one male person left, vaguely related to Rijitirat directly. And the nobility were all related to Rijitirat, but further. And they were starting to get killed by this last king because he thought someone's gonna try to kill him just because it's been so crazy. And he was right. The nobility killed him because he was trying to kill the nobility off just so that he had no successors to the throne, and that left no male heirs to Rijitirat. And you could have gone up from Rijitirat and to some of the nobility, but the nobility decided that would cause even more chaos, so they gave it to his eldest daughter, who was about 60 at that time. Her name was Shinsabu. And even though she was 50, 60, so this is why she's also known as the Old Queen, Banya Tao. That's her nickname, I guess. But she was also important in that she did a lot of things to stabilize the dynasty, and so that it didn't really crumble over the period of over the period of like 20 years. Like the second restored Hentari kingdom did die over a period of that many years, period of like 20 years. So she stabilized the secession and made the independence more stable. 2, she also did a lot of religious acts that are still revered as so she's kind of seen as a religious leader, not really a religious leader in the sense of like the Pope, but in the sense of a leader of the Mon people in the for if you care mostly about religion, it would be Shinsabu. She extended the big pagoda in Dagon over here, Dagon. Um, called the Jack Dagon. Today it's like the landmark of Burma, the Sri Dagon, where Jack is just Sri in Mon, or Sri means gold. And so she did a lot of things. She was also reigning monarch when the 2000th anniversary of the Buddhist Parinibbana happened, which is basically his death, but not really. Long story. So she kind of did a lot of things in terms of religious things. She also did a lot to stabilize things, and people were really prosperous under her rule of like 20 years. The way she stabilized the succession was that instead of giving it to nobility, instead of giving it to the nobility, she gave it to a monk. And that seems kind of out of the blue, and yeah, that was definitely out of the blue. And the reason for this is because the way that she... Okay, I'm not doing very well this game because I'm distracted all the time. But the way that she gave it to the monk was because she had built a lot of repertoire with the monkhood, given that she wasn't really considered as a viable candidate for any sort of succession. So she was given she kind of built a lot of repertoire with the monks. She was also married off to Burma, but she was married off to the Burmese king as in the peace treaty for that her father made. But when that was happening, she wasn't really getting didn't really get anything done in Burma, because by the time she arrived, the Burmese king only had 2 years left to live. In retrospect, we know that, but of course at the time they didn't. But so she had built a lot of repertoire with the Mon monks over there, because a lot of the remnants of that religious exchange was still existent. All right, and now we can build her unique building.
Knowledge.
I'll talk about that once I finish talking about this. We're almost there already. So she is kind of she was very, very religious in that sense, but she also had a good relationship with the monks, and that really propelled her to. That really got her that really got people, specifically more so the general people, to accept her choice for succession, and the nobility after that, in choosing a monk, one of the monks that brought her back, actually, and his name was Damaziri, and that is where the rest of the dynasty follows, and he is actually the dynastic. He's actually the third person that I was talking about. So he was also important because they were kind of co-ruling, but she was really ruling for him for first half of his reign, because she wanted to abdicate early so that there was no chance that people accepted his rule, while she was really the one pulling the things, kind of stabilized everything. But so because of that, a lot of people associate the same kind of things between the two. Damaziri is famous for his bell in the Jaitagon Pagoda, which is something he added afterwards. And so because he added something after Shinsabu added things, people started thinking of him as lots of kings afterwards like to add more to the pagoda, which is why it's so big today. In either case, Damaziri was also a possible choice, but I didn't really want to go for it just because I think that Shinsabu's story is a little more interesting. It's a little all over the place, and she stabilized the dynasty, and she was really built the success up for Damaziri, and a lot of the golden age kind of prosperity that you got from Shinsabu carried on to the Mod City. Okay, so the unique building is the Chechi. It's basically a temple replacement that costs no maintenance. I mean, that's pretty strong in and of itself. But, of course, this is a mod, so we have to make it a little more interesting. So, what I focused on here was gold from sea trade routes and land trade routes. So, I really wanted to encourage sea trade, because that was something that they were very known for. They're very good at sailing and trading. So, I wanted to do a little bit more of the naval side. So, and to tie it together, I had the whole faith and trade routes. So, this is a trade route. And it does play into the fate because it only provides the extra percentages if it's going to a city with the same religion. So, of course, the main benefit of this is, as you can see by my gold right now, is that it costs no maintenance, where a normal temple costs 2, which is quite a bit if you've been playing Civ 5. And so having no maintenance makes it pretty strong in the first place, but and on top of that, having the little bit of bonus makes it just a little extra mile and gives you something interesting to play towards. We really need optics. Okay, let's just park him for now. Okay. Golden Age. Okay. We really need to deal with them, though. They're gonna conquer us just like in real life. So... Yay! Got gold from where? What? Okay, whatever. Don't bite the horse. That feet. Or no, don't bite the hand. Don't question it. Okay, so the unique building. Right. So... The Cheti is a pagoda, basically. So I've been talking about the Jagdagon pagoda. That is a Cheti. A Cheti is a pagoda that has what do you call it? A relic of the Buddha inside it. Technically, all pagodas do, but there is a finite amount, and there's a lot of fabrication going on. But let's talk about that another time. So the Cheti is part of Hmong culture in that there's a lot of religiosity amongst the Hmong. They're probably thought of as a religious people, and a lot of fancier religious ceremonies. Even in Burmese culture, you'll wear Hmong style clothing. So, hello, happiness, thank you, yay. Okay, time to settle. Oof, let's go. All right. Maybe I should have gone desert folklore. Oh well. Wait, yeah, I should have gone desert folklore just to get the religion up. Oh, the extra golds from the Golden Age, of course. Alright, let's get them back. Okay, so the unique building, right? So the Cheti is a pagoda-like thing, and the main thing here is that basically every Civ I've made has a Cheti of some sort, or equivalent, like a pagoda or something. Oh yeah, actually, that's interesting. Only 2 really have a religious building of some sort. So religion is a big part of Burmese culture in general, and the Hmong people are even more religious, or that's the perception at least. So, especially because of the whole history of they spread Buddhism to us. So, I really wanted to keep this in there, but I didn't want to repeat myself because basically all of the other Burma mods that I didn't make also have some sort of religion thing. So oh fuck, that's been on production focus for a while. Alright, oh well. Let's get sailing. So the way that religion plays a role means that a lot of cities around this area have some sort of religious thing, and I didn't want to make it too much about having religious things, and I wanted to use it to represent something else. So the effect here is basically completely ahistoric or completely irrelevant. You could kind of think of it as we are getting bonuses for being part of, for people trying to trade with us to get to the pagoda or something. But really, it was just because I wanted an effect that synergized and also kind of made sense for the pagoda, where the unique building is a pagoda mostly because it's you don't have. Okay, sure, I'll take that. Okay, flexing much. Yeah, I'm building Oracle just because I rushed philosophy for this Chetty. And here you go, another Chetty. Let's rush him. You get that religion up. Spread it to all the other ones. Good thing they haven't done a religion, so at least we can spread it to them. Very historic, haha! They're spreading it to the Burmese. Alright, let's see. Let's get the horses up. Yeah, so where did I get the gold from? It was mostly because the main thing again is the lack of the maintenance cost, which is really helping me right now. But the lack of a maintenance cost really is the kind of the whole idea of this is not really maintained by a lot of people. It's just kind of maintained by people donating to it, and King's trying to legitimize himself a lot by, oh my god damn it. Yeah, Compound is a very expansionistic civ, so I'm getting quartered in already. This is very sad. Yeah, so the maintenance cost makes sense and it works, but there's only so much you can go off the same building but 6 times but different effects. So I've kind of relegated to this point of we're not really gonna delve too much on the historicity and add a unique building effect that really works with the civ for the general idea of the civ in terms of encouraging trade and being a better trader than a lot of people, without having to rely on the whole mess that is with trying to actually make a effect that works that isn't also used by one of the other 6 civs with a chetty of some sort. In fact, I'm making a Union of Burma mod, and I was going to make the unique building a Zaidi, which is just the Burmese word for chetty, Zaidi, and I thought, no, that is a little too similar, even though the effects are different. Yeah. So the chetty, the unique building, it's probably the least historic part of all of this, but it is also historic in the sense that it's not just what do you call it? It's not just random things. It's not just a random effect. It's something that does make sense within the context of the civilization, but it's not necessarily tied to the unique building. Unless you think of the no maintenance cost as the primary effect, but having that be in your mod is a little bit way too boring. So hope you understand that.